Hi, I'm Tim Pritchard. You're visiting the ELG at Cox Arboretum. Today we're going to make some horseradish. Horseradish is an incredibly hardy plant that grows as a perennial here in Ohio. The best time to harvest it is really after it goes dormant, but seeing as it is the end of June right now and we're eager, we're going to go ahead. When you're going to harvest your horseradish roots, you want to dig out far enough from the plant that you don't damage the root with your shovel. If you do happen to damage it, it's not a big deal. You can still dig that part out and use it, or leave it in the ground to grow more. If you look over here, I've already loosened the dirt on the other side, so I'm just going to dig the shovel in and use that to pry it out of the ground. That's a nice healthy one. So we've just harvested our horseradish. If we intend to grow more horseradish, what we can do is actually just chop off the bottom of the root system on a couple of these. And since there are root fibers coming off, we'll put it straight back into the ground and use the rest of the top to make our horseradish preparation. Before we take this horseradish root into the kitchen, we want to wash as much dirt off as possible. So just spray it off with a high-pressured hose. Once you get to the kitchen, you want to wash the rest of the dirt off the outside of the root. You don't have to be terribly particular about it though, because you're going to be peeling this horseradish anyway. Before you peel the horseradish, it's probably best to chop it up into smaller sections so it's easier to work with and your knife doesn't slip and cut you. Once you have sections about this big, use either a knife or a vegetable peeler to take the outside off. That part of the horseradish is not very edible. To grate the horseradish root, you could either use a hand grater like we're doing today, or if you have a food processor, you can cut the horseradish into smaller pieces and grind it up that way. So we have our grated horseradish here. It's been sitting for several minutes, so it's probably going to be fairly spicy. We're going to go ahead and add vinegar. You don't have to be terribly precise with this process, but I recommend about 2 to 4 tablespoons of vinegar for every cup of grated horseradish. So we've got almost a cup here. I'm going to do 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. You can use other kinds of vinegar. Most commercially available horseradish preparation is usually a white distilled vinegar, but apple cider vinegar is a little nicer in my opinion. We'll add about a half a teaspoon of salt. Again, this can be done to taste. It doesn't have to be a very specific amount. But that vinegar will stop the reaction that causes mustard oil in the preparation. And between the salt and vinegar, you'll have a naturally preserved, basically pickled horseradish. Happy horseradish!